Hello, my name is Mandolin Royal, and today it's the 6-week-old weigh-in for the chicks from Recreational Homestead. And this is my idea of just doing it in their pen. As I catch and get their band number and record their data, I'll put them in a tote. Once everyone's in a tote, I have all my data, and then I can turn them loose again. Originally, I was going to catch them all first, but they're so chill and easy to manage. I bet half of them are gonna walk right up to me. And they've already put all themselves into this corner anyways. So I think this is actually gonna be really easy because the birds are gonna make it pretty easy. As I find favorites, I'll put them in a separate tote so we can talk a little bit about them. I have my trusty little farm dog who really wants to help, but she's not allowed. And the turkeys are curious about all this stuff in this pen. Basically, the stool for the scale, a bucket to sit on, my notepad, and my totes. And then I will replicate this in the second pen, since I did split the group up to make sure that they have ample space. But I don't have a way to record all this as I do it from above. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it and then fill you guys in on the highlights. So more on this in a second. Well, it really is off to a calm start because I really did just sit down in this bucket, talk to them for a little bit, observe them for a little bit, and then I just reached over there and grabbed one. And here he is. Now, I did already indicate gender last week or the week before. It's hard to keep this stuff straight now. But now that gender is becoming much more obvious, this is definitely a cockerel. I'm going to write it down again, and then I'm going to compare that with my notes in the spreadsheet and see if it's still true after another 2 weeks of growth. That one's another real obvious cockerel. Those two are pullets. So at 6 weeks, it's pretty apparent, and here in another 2 weeks, I'm going to split them by gender. But check out this one, just being a little lap chicken. Alright, now the work begins. See this one just coming up? Probably gonna do her next. I love it when the temperament is easy. This is cool. Alright, back to work. Well, I only had to get up off my bucket a couple of times to catch a bird. This is the last one, so I'm going to let it do what it wants. In this tote, I put everyone who was as expected. Mostly pullets, couple of boys. I'll just pop the lid off and see if they want to fly out of there on their own. But in this other tote, I put the favorites. There's 4 in here. BL5, that number sounds familiar, and look at that gain this week, 24.75 ounces. BL7 is also in there, 21.75 ounces. BR7, pullet, 19.25 ounces. And BR10, that sounds familiar too. I think it was the pale-legged one from 2 weeks ago where I was kind of stuck between him and BL5, but BL5 is probably going to turn out to be best all-around cockerel out of this pen. BR10 weighed in at 22.875 ounces. But gosh, what a fun group to work with because they didn't give me any grief and they didn't give me any trouble. And they're very similar in temperament to my birds, who also make it easy. So here's the 4 that I like a lot. And you can see there's a lot of width of body here. And it's that width that seems to help the most when it's combined with good length and good body depth for that body capacity. It just makes a more robust bird, and it's really important to select for those structural traits. That's the one with the paler feet. So this guy is BR10, but still, he's got that width. He's got the length. He's got the fleshing. Yeah, this is a chunky bird. Go on. These four really feel like the best. This guy has a lot of substance. He doesn't have the visual mass that the others do, but that fleshing. It's too soon to show you what that looks like, but we'll get there in time. In case he doesn't end up winning the breeding selection. And one of the reasons why I do these purebred American Bresse is because there's a whole lot less gray area and it's pretty straightforward. They're either going to be breeding quality or they're not. And if they're not, you eat them. And there's your meat for the freezer. The girls, they can go on and have a laying career. If they're not breeding quality, there's your breakfast. It is absolutely everything you need from a chicken in one breed that you can replicate yourself so long as you keep up with the due diligence of your breeding selection to keep a good thing going. So what I hope to show with these chicks from the Recreational Homestead is out of that batch of 29, how many come up as breeding quality, how many come up as a good serviceable freezer bird, and how many breakfast layers do we get. And then we'll show in the future, because it's going to take a while from this point, these guys are only 6 weeks old, but their subsequent offspring and how those offspring grow based off of our breeding selections that we did over the next several weeks. Up to several months. I'm not going to call down too thin too early because that's a mistake. Oh gosh, I like this one too. And their foot color's starting to change good on some of them. It's too soon to see what their earlobes are going to do, but that's not a top priority. Alright, well I'm going to release the rest of these because they decided to just take a nap. And then I'm going to move on to the next pen and get that data collected as well. For now, these guys are waiting on me to refill their feeder, and I am going to show you what that grower feed looks like because at 6 weeks now they're fully on that grower blend from Kraut Creek up in Greenville, Ohio. And I do like what this feed is doing for the birds. Later on, I'll be doing a control group on the old feed I was using and the new feed from Kraut Creek, and that'll be just my genetics. So peer against peer, just different feeds for that trial. After I wrap up this trial, because it's the season of science. So back at it. So here's the feeds that I'm using for this trial. On the left is the chick starter at 23% protein, and on the right is the grower at 19% protein. And when I was talking to Jeff Maddox over at Fertrell, because he's the guy who formulated these blends, Kraut Creek is the manufacturer for them, and he was saying that the dip in protein is because their crops are larger, they can take in more feed, and that provides a tolerance to reduce some of that high potency nutrition that they have to be started with. So some other things worth mentioning is the methionine and the lysine. Those are the amino acids that really contribute to that early growth and help set them up for success. The other cool thing about this feed is that when you get down into the ingredients, there's no fillers, there's no garbage, there's no extra stuff that you're paying for. It has everything they need, and I do not have to add further supplementation to make this any better than what it is. So now that we're looking at what they're eating, let's get back to that second pen and see what our growth results at 6 weeks old is over there and who I find for favorites. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up and keep moving. So I've been working third shift, and this is super weird to be in the barn at night because tonight's an off night and all the birds are ready for bed. And I really hope I don't screw them up by keeping the lights on a little longer than normal. I guess time will tell. but I still have my chores to do, and I have to do them when I'm able to do them. So hopefully the lights don't turn off while I'm in the other stall doing those other chicks, because I do have everything on an automatic timer, and I want to say I've got about 15 more minutes before it shuts off. Guess I'll find out here in a second. Alright, back at it. So long as the lights are on. So the lights turned off after I did the first bird. But I'm all set up in this second pen, which is weird because it's an L shape. It goes around the corner over there. So I have my stool with my scale. I have this tote here. I have my next bird, who figured out I had cheater feed to draw them closer. My other tote back there. So I'm going to go ahead and do this pellet next, because she's ready and waiting. So we're at 19 ounces and 3/8. A little pale in the feet, but that's not going to stop her from laying eggs. Still, A+ temperaments. Look, there's my next one waiting right there. And if I have to get up off my stool, it's because I didn't use my cheater feed correctly. Look, she's back again. At least one of them has a brain. Don't knock it over. Alright, back to work. Alright, batch 2 is done. Our biggest baby for the week. 27.625 ounces for cockerel, BR number 1. And I've got an escapee plus the 2 others that I like the feel of, BR2. 21 ounces, but the feel of the fleshing on that one was actually really, really nice. And a pullet at 21.375 ounces. But I want you to look at these 4 that are on the ground and see if you can pinpoint that one that weighs the 27.625 ounces, since it is the biggest of this weigh-in. Which one do you think it is? It's the one back there picking its feathers. Well, maybe not. Oh, no, it's this one. That was the big honking pullet right there. That's going to be a nice, nice bird. But the one with the most developed comb is seemingly just doing everything faster than everyone else, including molting feathers. He's already dropped his tail feathers and regrown some more. So he's just going to be ahead of schedule compared to everyone else. And his foot color is already getting a decent color. He's busy. He's active. He eats a lot, I'm sure. And this one right there is the winner of the week. What's that tag number? BR1. So BR1 and BL5 are the top cockerels right now at 6 weeks old. We're going to see if that holds true. We're going to keep watching them grow. But for now, I've got a couple more chores to do this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and get these guys set back up with their feed for tomorrow. I'm going to hurry up and get out of here and turn the lights back off so I don't screw up my adults too bad with a change of schedule. Look at that width of body. That's nice. Nice to see. All right. Back to work. I'll see you guys next time. I'll be switching over to the spreadsheet and showing you guys that data, because I'm overdue for that. So, more on this later. Feel free to like and subscribe as we go through this feed trial and all the methods involved in bringing about the best possible flock to keep yourself well supplied in meat and eggs and your future flock.